I accept the condition that the professor can call me to present the project face-to-face. My name is Al-Bara Khalil Salam Adey, and my project is spam filtering using a neural network. Spam filtering is detecting unsolicited, unwanted, or virus-infected emails and then classifying them instead of them filling the user's inbox, which could waste their time and possibly infect their devices. And this is a crucial matter because it has to do with people's data security and maybe money. I used Python to develop the code, and I used Google Colab environment. Steps taken in this process are downloading the resources, which is a dataset of spam email samples and real email samples for the neural network to identify which is which. Then splitting the data into test and train datasets, and then getting the email content and pre-processing it to get rid of redundant data. Then we analyze and extract features to be used by the neural network, and then I developed a neural network, train and test it, and then we analyze the results. So I downloaded my email samples, the datasets from Apache Spam Assassin. It has a very huge amount of datasets. Here's the URL, and I split the data using the classic sklearn train test split. And then I got the email content using a defined function, get email content and get email content bulk. And then now the pre-processing, which is, for example, removing punctuation, white spaces, hyperlinks, converting text into one unified case, and so on. And then I also used port stemmer and wordnet limitizer. Port stemmer, for example, stems down the words like running, it makes it run, and what limitizer does is the word ran, it gets it back to the form which is run. So now the word running and ran, which really mean the same intent, go back to the same word run, which makes it easier for the neural network to understand. Analyzing and extracting features to be used by the neural network, which is our machine learning algorithm here. Tokenizer, which is it converts the words into integer sequences and thus turning them to be used as feature vectors. And then path sequences, it just basically makes sure that the integer sequences have the same length. Then developing the neural network and training it, I used Keras library. I have about 7 layers. The input layer, which tells the model how much data to expect. An embedding layer, which is like an alternative to one-hot encoding, essentially like a lookup table for a large number of English words. And then the bidirectional layer, which doubles the capacity of the input by processing the sequence forwards and backwards. This is necessary and commonly used in natural language processing, as sometimes the machine learning algorithm doesn't know what the sentence is about before knowing the rest of the sentence. For example, orange is something that. Orange is something that I love to eat. Then the learning algorithm understands that it's the fruit. And then when you say orange is something that I love to wear, then the algorithm understands that it's the color. And the output of the bidirectional layer is messy because there's like 2 interpretations. So global max pooling, which is a pooling layer, it downsamples the output of the bidirectional layer, and then a dense layer with a ReLU activation function, and a dropout layer, which is a type of regularization technique. We set a percentage to be used in the dropout layer, which means that the rest of the neurons are not going to be considered in that epoch. And of course, when another epoch is run, the same percentage but not the same neurons. This makes sure that none of the neurons becomes very specialized, and it avoids overfitting. And then a final dense layer with a sigmoid activation function. I train and test the model by the predefined function fit, model.fit, and also predict using the predefined model.predict. And I analyze the results using a confusion matrix. I attached 2 codes. The original one, which is final project, GPU required. It does require GPU to run because in the bidirectional layer it requires a GPU to run, but also supported a GPU not required version, which is going to be much slower. But thanks to notebooks, you don't actually have to run everything. If you open the notebooks, you can see the results of me running the code. For example, here The confusion matrix is already plotted, and everything is already ran, so you see the results of the runtime. And I also supported a report which goes into further details into the layers, their attributes, and what those attributes mean. For example, max feature is how large the vocabulary is going to be, and so on. It goes into further details explaining the code. Thank you so much.